Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Todd's 10. That's right, I am your host, Todd Kiper Berman Jr., and I'm coming at you with a Wednesday Week 2 preview. Thought it'd be Thursday, dropping it on Wednesday, a little surprise evening drop-in. That's right, we're going to be previewing Dan Ingram's league, a competitive league, a league that has a lot of side bets, a lot of gambling, a lot of intrigue in this league, a lot of things. Power rankings unique to this league, going to be used today in the analysis. Looking forward to doing it. So let's just hop right into it. Again, I am Todd Kiper Berman Jr., and this is Todd's 10, brought to you by Ross Dress for Less. But anyways, let's just jump right in with the matchups. First matchup of the week is what I'm going to call the matchup of the week. According to the power rankings, this is the matchup of the week. I also, looking at what happened last week's results, this is the matchup. And of course, I'm talking about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Will Smith making a comeback with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air on HBO Max, and he's also making a comeback with Cameron Herman's team. He's going to be taking on the super spreader. That's right, Shane Wormuth, everybody. The super spreader. Who knows what he's spreading? Could be butter, could be jam, could be anything on probably a toasted rye. My guess is country crock, maybe on a cracked wheat sourdough. But anyways, we're looking at this matchup. Really an interesting matchup from the players. You got Cam Newton, Patrick Mahomes, Cam Newton being for Cam, which is ironic. I just realized that. Wow, nice job, Cam, with the drafting. Patrick Mahomes, though, I think will have the favorite for Shane. Looking at this team, you got Dalvin Cook for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, both elite backs, both top 5 running backs, both will have top 5 weeks. Where do you go with that one? Looking at the other running backs, James Conner for Cam, Austin Eckler, and Robert Woods, Jamison Crowder. Of course, I'm saying Cam's team first, Shane second. Marquise Brown, Deontay Johnson, Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph, Chris Carson, Todd Gurley. Now, looking at this matchup, interesting. A lot of questions, a lot of questionable shit. A lot of questionable players on Shane's team. I think that is going to play a factor. Cam, a seasoned veteran owner. I think he's going to come out with a W here. Shane, going to keep it competitive late. I'm looking for a 120, maybe 130 game. It's going to be a high-scoring affair, everybody. A high-scoring affair. Ultimately, I think Shane is the one who gets spread on the toast, though. And I think he is toast. I think Cameron comes out with a big W this week. Now, looking at the next matchup, that's going to be Tom Hummel's team. That's bit him up. The lowest team in the power rankings, according to Commissioner Dan Ingram. Hummel got done wrong by Ingram. Well, he's trying to prove him wrong. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to prove him wrong this Sunday. Starting actually tomorrow, but this Sunday he's going up against a team that's a perennial contender. A team that nobody counts on winning every season, but somehow he's in the playoffs. He's in those top 2-3 seeds. A really good fantasy football player. That's right. Make Gronk great again. That's Nate Sprunk. Congratulations, Nate Sprunk, on a great team. So let's look up this matchup. Let's just break it down. Hummel's team, Carson Wentz, Sprunk, Josh Allen. You gotta love Josh Allen's versatility with the running game. I think he has the advantage there. Carson Wentz, latest stinker. Something Odell would have really liked in week 1. But so I think you got the advantage there to Sprunk. Now, looking at the running back position, you got David Johnson and Saquon Barkley for Tom Hummel. And I think that's where he has his advantage because Melvin Gordon and Delvin Singletary, to me, isn't a really good running back. Not very a sexy running back pair going to the week. Tough matchups, of course, for Melvin Gordon and Delvin Singletary as well going into the week. Now, looking at the wide receiver position, Calvin Ridley for Sprunk, Allen Robinson for Hummel, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams coming off a huge week where he absolutely torched the Minnesota Vikings secondary. He was the one doing the purple people eating, that is for sure. Now, Mike Evans is questionable. If he plays, Chris Godwin also questionable. If Chris Godwin is out, could see a large target share for Mike Evans. That's good news for Tom Hummel. I still think the wide receiver advantage, though, is going to go to Sprunk. I think if Adams continues with his momentum, has a big day. Now, this is where it gets interesting. A big waiver wire acquisition for Nathan Sprunk with Dallas Goedert. And I think versus Hunter Henry. Now, Hunter Henry going against the Chiefs defense is good. You know he's going to have the Honey Badger on him. Honey Badger, an expert at taking the safeties. I think Goddard is going to got that victory for Sprunk, and I think he has an advantage. Looking at the flex position, Sprunk has an absolutely stacked wide receiver lineup. He's stacking. It's like a thing of dominoes. You just keep stacking, and he keeps winning, and that's why they think Nathan Sprunk is going to win the game this week. Make America Gronk again goes to 2-0. Hummel falls to 0-2. Probably going to stay at that same spot in the power rankings. Let's see if he if what happens. But that is what I would have to go with right now. Now, moving on to the next game, we're going to go to the Count of Chicago versus the Trump train. That's right, I'm talking Mark Flower, the Count, the Prince, the Squire, the any kind of legal name that's fancy like that. Probably something you'd see in a Harry Potter novel. He has been that of some city that he's lived in. That's what he's been in. It's what he does. Now the Trump train, he was the Duke. That was the one I was trying to think of. The Duke, the Admiral, the General, the Commandeer. I can go on for days, folk. And so can Mark Flowers' team against David Kolb's. Both team 0-1. Kolb, a surprising 4th in the power rankings? Jesus, Dan, what did he do to you? Did he promise you his first child? I mean, what's going on here? Team goes 0-1 and moves up in the rankings? Something you don't see every day. But again, County Chicago was given a great draft. First off, the draft grades were ridiculous. All over the map, did not prove to be true in week 1. But now looking at this matchup, 2 0-1 teams, you hate to go 0-2 behind the 8 ball, behind the 7 ball, behind the 9 ball, because 7, 8, 9. But anyways, looking at the quarterback position, an even matchup. Wilson for Flower, Watson for Kolb. Great matchup. Not sure who the advantage goes there. I'm going to go split. They're going to both get 20.32 points. Now looking at the running back position, big acquisition for Kolb on the waiver wire with Nyheim Hines. He also has Derrick Henry, Adam Thielen, DJ Moore, Hayden Hurst, and Tyler Lockett holding down that flex position. That's a solid lineup. Probably a lineup that is deserving of a top 5 power rankings ranking, but you can't do that without a W. Again, I think a first child was promised somewhere. Anyways, looking at the running back position for Mark Flower, a draft that was given a great grade, but a team that doesn't look like it's so great right now. Nick Chubb splitting more carries with Kareem Hunt than expected. Smart move by another league owner to grab Kareem Hunt. When he did, Nick Chubb, the Chubster, probably went a little higher than he probably should have with the volume of carries he's seeing right now. Kerryon Johnson, real suspect in that Detroit backfield. CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy really banking on the rookies, Mark Flower. I'm not going to go into too much other detail. He does have elite tight ends, but Coach Kittle getting dinged up. You hate to see that. Probably not a good omen for Mark Flower's team this week. That's why I think David Kolb is going to come out with the victory. Now moving on to the next game, Slater and Gulterman versus the Little Deuce Coups, the Battle of Chicago, the Battle of Park Ridge. Who will take the Red Hawk crown? Caw-caw! Anyways, who's going to win the crown? And I'm going to tell you about it right now. Both teams, again, 0-1. Slater and Gulterman was rated as going into the week. The number 1 team fell to a different team. We're going to talk about him later on in this program. Little Deuce Coups, again, high-rated draft, low-rated week 1 performance. Now looking at the rosters here, Dak Prescott for Jordan Mallon, Lamar Jackson for Mike Zimmerman. You got to give the edge to Lamar. Looking at the week 1 statistics, Lamar, he can run, he can throw, he can do everything. He's a former MVP, making more money. Dak Prescott making more money. Lamar Jackson making more people win fantasy football games. I think that's a big advantage there for Mike Zimmerman. Looking at the running back position for Mike Zimmerman, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, and NFC North flavor to the running back position, but I don't think it's the flavor of winning. I think the flavor of winning is on the other side. Joe Mixon has a nice bounce back week versus what is a suspect Cleveland Browns defense. At least they were last week. Lamar Jackson made them look like a pedestrian crossing the street without the pedestrian sign. It was the hand, but they crossed anyways. And that's what the Browns defense looked like. Jonathan Taylor thinking of a big week, especially with Marlon Mack rupturing his Achilles. He pulled a Brad Pitt, got his Achilles ruptured, and of course the city of Troy soon fell afterwards. And I think the running back position for Zimmerman is the Troy in this scenario. I think he falls in that thing. Anyways, T.Y. Hilton, Will Fuller, not a set of strong receivers though for Jordan Mallon. I think this is where Mike Zimmerman's team takes the cake, takes the pickle, takes whatever he wants, whatever food, he's taking it. Mike Zimmerman, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp has a big advantage there. Looking at the tight end position, you got to give it back to Mallon. Makes a big trade this week. A big trade acquiring Travis Kelce versus Chris Herndon for Mike Zimmerman. You got to give the advantage to Travis Kelce because, quite frankly, Sam Darnold looks like me playing varsity quarterback for Chaska football. I mean, just abysmal back there. Doesn't know what he's doing. Adam Gase probably couldn't even coach an 8th grade team, which is, of course, where Eli Drinkowitz, the Missouri coach, started. I don't even think he could get that job. He's pretty bad. Looking at the flex position, I think it's a really even matchup. Mark Ingram versus Ronald Jones the second. I don't know why he's not called junior. I never got the distinguishing between the second and the junior thing. How do you decide that? Do you just want to sound fancy? Do you want to sound more royal? Maybe we should talk to the Count of Chicago. He will probably have the details for us. Looking at the defense, probably Mallon has the advantage there with the Bills. The Bears' defense is good, but the Bills' defense is better. Looking at the kickers, Harrison Butt Kicker is the kicker. He's top-notch. But still, though, I think with the quarterback position and the receivers he has, I think Mike Zimmerman takes the crown this week and really comes out with a nice victory for his squad. Now, looking at, I guess, what will be our 5th matchup of the day. It's going to be against 2 teams that went 1-0 in the first week. and they're ranked 1 and 2 in the power rankings, but again, not my pick of the week as game of the week, but it's going to be a hell of a matchup. The number one team, of course, being screwed up and drafted Odell again. Is Odell in the starting lineup? That's the question I'm about to answer for you. Cactus Jack sent him, and he sent him to victory last week. That's right, Dan Ingram's team, number 2 teams in the power rankings, sent him to get something. What? We don't know. Was it a piece of mail? Was it a victory? That's what I think it was. Was it a pencil? Was it a pen? Was it a poster? Was it some gift for a special loved one? We're not sure. Cactus Jack, give me a call. I'd love to get the actual answer from you. But looking at the quarterback position, you got Matt Ryan for Dan Ingram, Kyler Murray for Dylan Crane. Got to get the advantage to Dylan Crane there. Looking at the running back position again, I think Malcolm Brown is going to get a significant amount of work for the Rams. I think they're going to run the ball this year. I think they're going to try to be a more run-oriented team, but a little bit more of a zone scheme versus a ground and pound that they had with Gurley. A little bit more zone scheme, a little bit wide, getting some, big splits, some big banana splits for the offensive linemen. Kenny and Drake, Josh Jacobs, though, for Dan Ingram is an unbeatable running back combination, at least according to week 1, and I think he has the advantage there. But it's going to be close. Julio Jones, DeAndre, and DK Metcalf. Julio Jones, always the perennially questionable wide receiver. He won't miss the game. He'll play. Cactus Jack is sure of it. DK Metcalf, though, with a tough matchup against the Patriots, especially if he gets Stephon Gilmore on him. Look out for that matchup. Probably matchup on the outside of the week. DeAndre Hopkins, Odell Beckham Jr. Again, DeAndre is going to put up points, but I think overall depth you got to give to Cactus Jack. Looking at the tight end position, Jonnu Smith had a breakout week, I would say, for the Tennessee Titans, and I think he continues that momentum. But is it better than Jared Cook this week? I say yes, Jonnu Smith, the better tight end. Now, looking at the flex position, this is where the absolute advantage goes to Dylan Crane's team. He drafted Odell, and that was a mistake. But you know what wasn't a mistake? Drafting Juju. It's good Juju for his team, good vibes, number 1 power ranking. Things are looking up for him. This is a significant advantage in the flex position versus John Brown. Looking at the defense, the Cowboys and the Chiefs defense. Chiefs defense probably going to have a field day against Tyrod Taylor. I'm going to give the advantage there. Young Ho Koo, Robbie Gold. Robbie is as good as gold. I think that's the advantage there. Really a toss-up matchup for me. And this is just a gut instinct. I'm going Cactus Jack with the victory this week. Now, moving on to our final game of the week. That's right, the Walrus has returned. John Lennon has returned. He is the Walrus. Goo goo gajoo. Max Golterman, congratulations. You are back, and you are back in the game. A champion from last year. A champion from several years ago. This guy wins championships. It's crazy. And, of course, the Robert Kraft defense team had probably one of the best regular seasons of all time last year. Came up a little bit short in the championship game. Owner is still shooting himself in the foot for that one. But that right, the owner is Brett Kohler. Both teams coming off a 1-0 start to the season. We got Golterman, the Walrus, actually 0-1. He lost last week. So I take back everything I said earlier about the 1-0 thing. Walrus ranked 9th in the power rankings. Robert Kraft is surprising 7th despite the victory. Not even in the top 6. Only 6 teams win. It's frustrating. It's a frustrating thing. Anyways, not much thought of his roster across the league, but again, did he draft well? We'll find out. Ben Roethlisberger for the Walrus. Matthew Stafford for the defense team. Roethlisberger looked good, and I'm going to give the advantage to Roethlisberger there. McCaffrey versus Kamara, both had nice weeks, but you got to go with McCaffrey. He's probably one of the best players in fantasy, if not the best. Kamara will put up a good fight, though. Looking at 25 points from McCaffrey, probably about 20 points from Kamara. So far not looking good for Robert Kraft's defense team. The other running back, though, Miles Sanders versus Mostert. I think Mostert, as Matthew Barris said it, is a must-start this week. An absolute must-start. Miles Sanders coming off that quad injury, probably going to get eased into the running back position, into the workload, I should say, this week by Philadelphia. I think the advantage goes to Mostert there. Looking at the wide receiver position, you got 2 questionable wide receivers for the Walrus. That's right, Galladay is questionable, and A.J. Brown is questionable. On the other side, you got Michael Gallup and DJ Shark. Chris Godwin could go in for Shark, depending on his status currently in concussion protocol. Looking at the wide receivers, though, I think it's a pretty even matchup, especially off week 1 results. I think it's going to be a draw here. I think you're going to see one wide receiver 10, one wide receiver 15 on both squads. Looking at the tight end position, again, this is a position I know for the Robert Kraft defense team, after speaking with the owner personally on the phone before this, that is interesting for him. Does he start Fan or Higbee? Currently, Higbee in the lineup versus Darren Waller. You got to give the advantage to Waller. Now, this is where I think the defense team has a great advantage. It's right, Kareem Hunt, who came off a very nice, steady week, good 12 points. He's going to be the James White of the season, 12 to 15 points every week. James Robinson, a question mark. in that Jacksonville offense. What are they going to do this week? They had a great week last week. Does it continue? I'm not sure. Kareem Hunt takes the advantage there. The defense, Steelers is top-notch. It's going to be better than the Saints defense for the defense team. Finally, Greg the Leg Zerline versus Zane Gonzalez. Both teams are going to put up a lot of points this week. That is a draw. Overall, I'm going to have to think Robert Kraft's defense team comes out with a victory. But it's going to be a hell of a matchup. I'm guessing a 180 points to about 175 points. Tough break for the Walrus after putting up so many points, but the Robert Kraft defense team, it's a good squad. It plays defense, it plays offense, it plays victories. That's what it does. And all right, everybody, that is Todd's 10. A little bit longer than 10, but I hope you stuck around for all of it. I am your host, Todd Kiper Berman Jr. I can't wait to see you all next week on Todd's 10.